Hey guys, it's Vince and Drew with Power 5 Fanatics coming at you going into week 9 of the college football season. And we're going to share our pick'ems for the week against the spread. We got 10 really key games in college football. We tried to stay with pretty much top 25 action. Starting off, that's tonight actually, Thursday night football, SMU at Houston. Houston's getting 14 points.
Yeah.
Drew and I both, as you can see, both liked SMU. My deal with them is Buechele is just playing out of his mind, and Houston's struggling a little bit right now with their new coach, and it doesn't seem like with Holgrimson. And it just doesn't seem like things are clicking yet on their offense. I know part of it, they lost their quarterback from last year.
Yeah.
And I just don't think they're going to be able to stay with them, even though they're playing at Houston.
Yeah, this one, they're at Houston, so that's tough. It's going to be a little Dallas versus Houston battle.
Yeah, but Houston doesn't really support their team a whole lot.
Yeah, that's true.
It's more a commuter school, but it's a Texas contest, so there's going to be some pretty good fans.
I just think, last week's win for SMU against Temple really showed me a lot about SMU's consistency and their ability to get up every single week. Because that's a tough, to have to.
Yeah.
I picked Temple to beat SMU last week, and SMU beat them pretty handily.
They just keep impressing me.
They're really playing.
They can roll the points up on you. Buechele had 6 touchdown passes last week.
So, yeah.
Moving on to bigger games, Wisconsin at Ohio State. That's definitely a big game in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Here at the middle part of the season. Drew and I both liked Ohio State, giving 14.5 points playing in the horseshoe. And I'm not trying to overact with Wisconsin losing to Illinois, but I just think Ohio State's that good.
Yeah. This game lost a little bit of its luster when Wisconsin lost last week, you could ask the question: Is Wisconsin going to come in disrespected? That maybe people don't see their ability to maybe compete with Ohio State. Even with that edge, I still think Ohio State will cover in this game. It's at home for Ohio State. They've done nothing on the whole season to tell me that they can't, put up some points, but also hold teams to
and just about every other
10 points a game. So
almost every other contest in the Big Ten, you expect 17-14 games, but except Ohio State. And I know Wisconsin defense had been on a historic run going into last week, but Ohio State's one of the best offenses in the nation. They may be the best.
And I don't trust Wisconsin's offense.
I don't either.
The defense made some plays for them last week to keep them in that, really get them, where maybe they had a chance to beat Illinois. But I trust Ohio State's offense and their defense.
I agree. Going down to the SEC, there's some big contests this weekend. Probably this is the biggest slate of games we've had this year easily. Auburn at LSU. I'm not sure if that's a night game or not, but regardless, I'm taking Auburn. Drew is taking LSU. My reasoning on Auburn, just they're still in the thick of things. Bo Nix, bounced back last week, had a better game, and just they're very athletic. Of course, LSU is also. I just think it's going to be a closer game, something like 30-20, maybe 30-20 to 23. Anyway, I got Auburn covering that.
I got LSU to cover here. This game, this has probably been the toughest picks week we've had to do, just because some of these games are really close. Like this one, who knows what this one could turn into. This game always seems like it's pretty close.
Yeah.
The talent on both teams. Really
I know
close.
this one. Tough. It's really tough.
I do think though with LSU's upgraded offense and their offensive scheme and their skill players, I do think that they're going to be able to put up, and cover the 11 points at home. But yeah, I mean, Auburn's got a great defense, so it's going to be an interesting game to watch. I'm going to be interested to see, how these two teams are going to be able to, how they compete with each other and what this game ends up looking like. Is LSU's offense for real? Who knows? I think it is, but this is just another test for them to try to pass. But I'm going to go ahead and go with LSU at home this week.
All right, moving on up north, Penn State at Michigan State. Could be really cold up there.
Yeah.
I know there's a cold front that's
Lansing.
kind of blowing through the midsection of the United States. I'm not sure how Michigan, I'm sure it's going to be cold, but that's going to be outdoor in the elements. We both like Michigan State getting 6.5 against Penn State. My reasoning, less so the weather, but I figure it's going to be low scoring because both offenses have been a little bit shaky, especially Michigan State, but even Penn State hasn't been blowing the doors off people, but their defense has been there.
Yeah.
So, this being at home, Michigan State, I think this will easily be 2017 game, something like that, a field goal. So I like Michigan State covering.
I also like Michigan State covering here. Like Vince said, I could just easily see this game being 14-17 or 21-17. It doesn't seem like a touchdown game to me.
Doesn't
And it might be. Who knows?
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get in football. It could also be 21-14. Who knows? But I do think Penn State is going to win this game on the road, which will be a big win
I do
for them
too.
to
I think they
maintain
will win.
to maintain their status as one of the top teams in the country. But Michigan State, Mark D'Antonio I know that this year the team seems to kind of be slipping, and I don't know if Mark D'Antonio's,
If you look at their history, though, he has a tendency to pull a game
He
out.
does, and that's
out of
kind of
the
where I was
hat,
going
like even
with
an
that.
upset.
Yeah, even with their season not being quite what they've built for themselves as far as a standard.
They've been one of the more upset-minded teams, over the last.
Yeah.
How long has he been there? 10 years or longer?
Yeah, and they're able to kind of keep these games close traditionally. So I think they're going to cover. I think Penn State will win this game, though.
Moving back to Texas, we got UT at TCU, and this is kind of a strange game, and it was one of those. If you would ask me what the line was,
Yeah.
I would have probably had a hard time coming up with the line on this. I would have figured UT would be favored more than 1.5 points, just from the standpoint, which that is what the line is, but from the standpoint that TCU's offense has been stagnant all year. I think they had one game, didn't they beat Purdue early in the year? And that was really...
It was mostly their run game in that game, though. They had, how many yards? 350.
But that was like
yards.
the most offense they produced, and that was a month and a half ago. And since then, it's, they played decent defense at times, but their offense has been inconsistent at best.
Yeah.
And I just think, Ellinger's having a career-type year. I know UT's their defense is very shaky at this point. They're missing some players, but I just think they're going to outscore them. It might be 30 to 25 or something, but I think they will cover it, though, and they will win.
I agree. I was a little surprised to see this line this low as well. I think part of that is because we all saw what happened last week against Kansas. That was a very concerning game.
And I don't see a game like that at all. I think it's going to be more in the 20s or 30s. I don't think it's going to be 50 to 48.
Yeah, and
I don't
also
think TCU can score that many points.
I think Texas is supposed to get some of their starters back in the secondary, which should help in this game. I don't think TCU's got the passing game to exploit that depleted secondary, though, that Texas has.
So they're probably going to be crowding the line and just force them to
run the ball, which is what TCU's good at. So they're going to, I bet TCU.
Well, they're going to try to
Texas
force
will
them to throw it probably, but
yeah.
They're going to try to shut their strength
Yeah, Texas
down.
will try their best to stop the run game. I agree with Vince, though, that I just feel I have more confidence in Texas's offense than I do TCU's. And I just, even though it's on the road at TCU, I think Texas has enough firepower to go.
They'll have enough fans that are going to drive up there, too, because
Yeah.
TCU sometimes, doesn't have the greatest fan support, especially if they're not winning. So I think there's going to be tickets. They probably will be sold out. There's going to be a lot of UT fans there. Oklahoma State at Iowa State. Another interesting game. We disagreed on this one. Iowa State's giving 10.5 points in Ames, Iowa. Probably going to be extremely cold there.
Yeah.
On come Saturday. So I don't know if that's going to slow down. I don't know what the precipitation situation is, if it's going to rain or snow or whatever, but could slow down the passing game a little bit regardless. But I got Oklahoma State. I'm going to stick with them another week. They didn't hit last week for me, but I'm going to stick with them because I think they do have enough offense to cover that 10.5 point line that Iowa State's given them. Drew disagrees though on that one.
Yeah, I picked Oklahoma State last week against Baylor, and they let me down as well.
Yeah.
And I don't think Iowa State's a whole lot better. I mean, they lost to Baylor, so I don't think that they're better than Baylor at this moment. But on the road at Iowa State and kind of, the trend that they've been on as far as, their October streak is very impressive. It's still October. Who knows if that's going to play a part? They obviously have their pride on the line.
I mean, Iowa State, I'll say this, their offense has looked better in the last couple weeks, definitely better.
I think their team is better.
Early in the year, their offense was just pitiful, and it's they've turned it around. They're actually one of the, I would say, making the biggest improvement in the Big 12 at this point.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Iowa State. This is a weird line, though, 10.5. That's what kind of worries me a little bit. I would like it better at 10 points. Of course, we didn't get it there. But 10.5, I'm still going to go with Iowa State, but I'm not very confident there.
All right, we got some old school football in the big house.
Yeah.
Notre Dame at Michigan. It's a pick 'em. There's a lot of interesting lines in this game. I actually thought Notre Dame might be, if you were going to ask me, maybe favored by 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. It is a pick 'em, and I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the history of Michigan and Notre Dame and Michigan playing at home. Usually fairly low scoring and close. And we both like Michigan, though.
Yeah.
And I'm not giving up on Michigan yet. Obviously, we're picking them to win this game unless it's going to be a tie. But anyways, we're picking them to win, both Drew and I both. I think their offense has improved some. And their defense is pretty much, it's been consistent all year. Their defense hasn't been bad. They had the hiccup game with Wisconsin the first half.
Right.
And some of that was just some big plays.
And the first half against Penn State, they gave up like 21. But the second half, they only gave up 7.
Yeah.
So
pretty much their defense has been hanging in there all year. And I think it will here. And my other thing with Penn State is they've been playing great defensively also. I'm sorry, not Penn State, but Notre Dame. They've been playing great offensively, but their defense has slipped a little bit. And last couple of weeks they haven't looked as good.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Michigan here at home. This might be a sucker bet for because of what we've been seeing. I think it kind of depends on which Michigan team are we going to get. Are we going to get the team that tried to come back against Penn State last week and showed some life that maybe our season's not over, especially if we can beat Penn State here, our season's not over. Are we going to get that team, or was that the Michigan team that had their backs against the wall, and this week they're going to come out, our season's already over. That was our chance to have our season still, in hand, and I think that depends. I think it very much so.
I think we both agree that they're playing for pride right now and for Coach Harbaugh, and we think they're going to get it done. So
yeah, I think they're going to get it done. It's going to be a good game, though.
All right. Next, we got Cal at Utah. Our Pac-12 contest with one of the top teams in the Pac-12. I would say the second best. They're giving a lot of points up, 21.5. Cal's one of those teams you don't know what you're going to get. It's like a grab bag. And I'm going to say the grab bag is going to be bare this week. I'm having Utah in a blowout, somewhere in the 35-7 range.
Again, this is one of my least confident picks. I went with Cal here. Cal's offense is awful. It is not good.
The best thing on the resume, they did beat Washington in Seattle.
Yeah, that was a huge
I don't know how, but that was week 2. But they've been one of the more inconsistent teams in college football.
I also think that
I can't really
Cal's-
think of one that's been more inconsistent than them. Other than a team like Maryland,
Yeah.
been very inconsistent. They hadn't been that inconsistent, but they've been inconsistent. Cal has.
Yeah, and I think I thought their defense was a little bit better than I think it actually is at this point in the season. It's still really good defense Cal has, which is why I picked Cal to hold Utah below 21.5, or the spread. But I also don't really trust Cal's offense to keep it there. So yeah, I'm going with Cal here because that's a big spread, but I'm not very confident, especially since it's on the road at Utah. So I guess we'll just have to see on that one. That one's interesting.
Staying in the Pac-12, we got Arizona State at UCLA, so playing in the Rose Bowl. You're not used to having UCLA getting points against Arizona State in the Rose Bowl, but that's pretty much how the season's turned out, or the last few seasons for UCLA.
Right.
UCLA is getting 3.5 points at home. They have played better lately, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing improvement with Chip Kelly's offense.
Me too.
Maybe things are just starting to click finally. I'm not sure what, because they actually do have, a few athletes, but we both like UCLA covering at home.
Yeah. I usually would pick Arizona State here.
They play better in Tempe.
Oh yeah.
Arizona State does, and on the road, they hadn't been near as good on the road this year.
Yeah. They keep most games close. Of course, last week it was kind of they got beat pretty bad by Utah.
Yeah.
But of course, we think Utah is the second best team in the Pac-12, so it's not a bad loss to lose there. Now, I picked UCLA for the same reason Vince did. I just think the offense has gotten better, and for some reason,
That's not saying a lot, but they have.
I just have a gut feeling on this one, and I don't know if it's going to be right or not. I just was looking at that game, going back and forth. I wanted to pick my brain said pick Arizona State here because I think they're a better team than UCLA.
Maybe this is a turning point for Chip Kelly at UCLA.
But my gut feeling said pick UCLA here because of that same reason. I think it might be a turning point. Who knows? So we'll just have to see. That one's one I'm definitely going to keep my eye on, though.
Yeah, those, I don't know what time that game is. Those are always so hard to watch, Pac-12 games, if they're late.
Yeah.
Washington State at Oregon. The other top team in the Pac-12 against one more in the middle of the pack right now with Mike Leach's Washington State team. Oregon's favored at home by 14. We both like Oregon. I just think Oregon and Utah are both pulling away. I'm picking them both to win big this week.
Yeah, Oregon showed some deficiencies last week on defense.
They finally did, yeah.
And we, felt like their defense had been great. I mean, besides
for 5 straight games.
even in the Auburn game, I mean, giving up 27 is not horrible.
No.
But between that point, they were getting up like.
But
5
Washington's
points
a
game.
decent team. I mean, they're probably the third best team in the Pac-12.
And it's a rivalry, and it was for pride, and it was for the top of the division, or at least attempt to get to the Pac-12 championship. I think Oregon is quite a bit better than Washington State this year. There's about 6 teams that
his team's been pretty inconsistent this year too.
Yeah, there's about 6 teams in the Pac-12 that could be the worst team in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
And I think this might be one of those teams. I don't think they're the worst team in the Pac-12, but they are, very inconsistent as well. And I don't think their offense has been as good as it,
It hasn't
has
been.
lately.
Ever since that second half against UCLA, where
Yeah, it
they
seems like
gave
that
up
kinda
35 points or
Took
whatever.
their soul away when they
Yeah,
lost to UCLA.
it's been going downhill. It's been up and down. Well, guys, that's who we got. Let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell because we're going to be putting more videos out this week. And we'll be talking to you later. Thanks.
Talk to you later. Bye.